What's up, y'all? This Brandi, and I just jumped off the porch with Dirty Glove Bastard.
She was a hustler. She was a...
All right, y'all, so we have the prettiest sitting with us today off the porch, Brandi. How are you feeling?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm excited.
Yeah.
I'm super excited because, you know, I told you beforehand how I found you, and your story is amazing. And I think that it's a powerful testimony to even young girls today. So, you know, we got to get into it.
Yeah, and I'm happy you're a girl too. When
Thank
I came
you.
in, I see you as a lady. I was excited to chop it up with you too.
I know, but all right. So for people who are just watching our platform, because we do have like regular people who watch it. For those who are not familiar with you, just go ahead and lay it all out.
Well, my name is Brandi. I think a lot of people got to know who I am from social media. But really, when I first came home, I had got 10 years in federal prison for a drug conspiracy charge I had caught back in Detroit. The story was kind of, I'm more so, like, first it was like, it started in prison. So in prison, like, me and my girls, we used to do pictures on certain days on the weekends. So we'd get dressed up, we get our little prison clothes altered up or whatever, and we'd take pictures. So I wasn't home when it was Instagram and stuff like that. Like, I wasn't around when all that stuff started. So one of my homegirls was like, I'm gonna start you an Instagram page, and I'm about to, you know, start posting your prison pictures on Instagram. And my Instagram name was Free Pretty Girls, because I guess because we was in jail, you know, we was cute, and when people were seeing our pictures, they was like, them girls locked up, like, what they in jail for? So I think that's kind of how I build up the momentum of, you know, my story getting out there.
Wait, okay, I think I remember that, because didn't y'all go viral for, was it you that went viral?
No, it was some girls at my prison. It was like some prison pictures that went viral.
I remember some girls that had on like gray or something
like that. Yeah, that's
like
what
that.
We wore, like gray.
Yes,
we get our little clothes altered so it be fitting tight. But now I see a lot of girls.
That's why, because I was like, hold up, the prison clothes, like, they be fitting, they be giving
we used
body.
to pay for that.
You have to pay to get it all.
Girl, you pay for everything in prison. Like, when you in prison, especially when you do a long time, you kind of try to make your bed as comfortable as possible. You know what I'm saying? So, like, I worked at laundry because I wanted to wash my own clothes. But if you didn't work in laundry, you pay somebody that work in laundry to wash your clothes. It's a girl that's in laundry that be altering your clothes, you know, to make your clothes fit and things like that. It's like you pay for everything, you know, but you can get whatever done.
So with you, you know, being in prison, how long would you say it took you to actually adapt?
Well, for me, I did some county time, and people who know, you know, or experience county jail know it's not like the best place to be. It's like really uncomfortable because it's like a heavy rotation of people coming in and out, because you might be in there fighting a case, but it might be somebody in there for a DUI or somebody detoxing because they got a little drug charge, but they don't have bond to get out. So in county, you kind of around all type of people, you know, fresh off the street. So for me, when I got to prison, I was happy to get there, because it was like you finally got, like, you can start your bid because you're not confined in one space. Like in the county, you usually confined in one little space, like 24/7. You might get out for a little wreck, but that's still inside for like an hour to use the phone and stuff like that. But I was kind of happy to get to prison because I was able, you know, to start my prison sentence, and it was way more comfortable. Like, you get to move around, you can go outside, you know, you can start exercising. It was just a lot of perks that, even though you're in prison, but still compared to the county, you'll be happy to get out of there.
Right. And as a woman, like, just being in that type of environment, how were you able to stay sane throughout your time?
For me, I grew up in Detroit, you know, so a lot of people always say girls from Detroit is like aggressive, or they be like, dang, y'all tough, y'all aggressive, but that's kind of how Detroit will raise you. You gotta be tough, you know. So for me, I experienced a lot of stuff in my life, and prison, the worst part for prison for me was being away from my son. Like, if I didn't have a child, it would have been like, all right, I you know, I did my time, you know, I did the crime, I do my time. But the thing that was significant for me was me being away from my son, because when I left, he had just turned 3, and then when I came home, he was about to turn 11. So, you know, that's a big gap of window of time and be away from your child. So that was really the hardest part for me, was being away from my son.
And how many years did you say that you were in prison for?
I got sentenced to 120 months, which is 10 years, and like I did the drug program and stuff, so I did almost 8 years in prison.
So when you found out that you were about to get 10 years, did your stomach drop?
It's like in the feds, you take a plea. You know what I'm saying? So, like, you kind of got an idea of what you looking at. But for me, if you know people who have experienced that, you know, taking pleas or going through the judicial system, it's like they give you your time in months. So like even when you about to go, you know, looking over the plea or trying to see, you know, how much time you're giving you, it was like 120 months. So I'm looking like 120 months. Okay, like, damn, that don't sound that bad, 120 months. But when they was like, that's 10 years, I'm like, damn. You know what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, it is what it is.
Right.
So
what was your other option if you didn't take the plea deal?
I mean, go to trial. And then when you go to trial, if you lose, you're going to get more time than what they was going to give you in the plea. That's kind of like how the federal system is set up. It's like damn near over 90% of people plea out. Because one thing for sure, I'm not going to sit here and act like I ain't do nothing.
Right.
Or act like I'm a saint. You know what I'm saying? I did what I did, so I had to suffer the consequences that came from my actions. But don't nobody go take the feds to trial, because when they come get you, they got your ass. Like they're not gonna waste their time and spend their little money, you know, investigating you, or you know, or come out with an indictment if they don't feel they're gonna get a conviction. So it's like when you get locked up with the feds, your only option for real is to kind of try to work out the best plea possible, you know, so you can get home.
Right. Now I do kind of want to go through a timeline, but not too deep into it. So just starting out with your upbringing, of course. So just talk about your upbringing, the experience that you had to go through, and the lessons that you learned.
My upbringing, I had a really good upbringing. You know, I grew up in the suburbs. The only odd thing that might stood out was, for me, my life was normal, but you know, as I got older, I grown and learned that my dad, you know, he was in the streets or whatever. You know, he sold drugs, but he wasn't that typical dope boy, no type of guy. You know what I'm saying? He was like a family guy, but he did what he did, you know? So for me, growing up, I went to private school. I did all of that, but I guess, I don't know, because my sisters wasn't really like that. It was really more so me. I don't know if it was the middle child syndrome or whatever, but it's like, even though I had everything, and my dad used to be like 8 Mile in Detroit, 8 Mile is a street, y'all probably know from the Eminem stuff or whatever. But it's a street that separates, you know, like the suburban side from the Detroit, the city side. So, like, he used to tell us, like, when he first got us a car, like, y'all better not go across 8 Mile, whoop, whoop, whoop. So I'm like, yeah, okay, whatever. But it's like, I don't know. I was always, it's like, growing up, like, my daddy was a drug dealer, but all his friends was drug dealers. So I grew up, it was like all the drug dealers' kids. So just say like
eventually, so with all of y'all hanging out, like, did y'all ever ask each other, like, what does your dad do? Like,
no, because it wasn't nothing to ask, because all of us lived the same life. Like, we all lived in the burbs, we all went to good schools, you know, we was all spoiled. So you can kind of put it in the mind frame of today's growing up hip hop, but really like growing up drug dealer. Yeah. Or, you know what I'm saying? So it was like, that was our normal. But as we got older, my friends who was boys, who grew up the same way I did, they jumped out and they started being in the streets. You know what I'm saying? And doing their thing. So that kind of was what exposed me to that side at a younger age, because like all the boys I grew up with who daddies was in the streets, they ended up being in the streets, but them was my people. So who I'm gonna hang with? I'm gonna hang with them. So it was like, Detroit is like a hustling town. Like anybody that's from Detroit or been through Detroit, it's a give money city. It's like, that's just what it is. You're gonna get money. And at a young age, a lot of young cats jump off the porch early and get money. So it's like, I was introduced to that lifestyle, even though my daddy tried to keep me away from it, but it was just so easily accessible because everybody that was around me was in the streets. So when I dated guys, I only dated drug dealers. You know, like guys that go to my school, I'm looking at them like, boy, like, I'm not talking to you. Like, I dated older, you know, because like my dad provided a lifestyle for me and my sisters, and it made me set a certain standard. So like, my daddy bought me my first Rolex when I was like 16. I had Rolex, I had diamond earrings, I had necklace, I had a ring. Like, I had a whole little kit that if you seen me, you would think that a a dude bought it, but my daddy bought it.
Was you going to school with the Rolex?
Yeah, I was in private school with my ring on, like Cartiers on, like that was just like a staple. You know what I'm saying? Like, so I had all those things so young. So if a guy trying to talk to me, what I'm gonna look for? Like, I'm gonna look at him like, well, if you can't do what my daddy do, what's the point of me messing with you? So I was attracted to the guys that could provide the things that I was already getting at home. And that's what kind of started the cycle of me, you know, like just messing with a certain type of guy and being in the streets.
Right. So, you know, since you are on the porch, it's only right for us to ask, at what age did you officially jump off the porch?
I jumped off the porch early. Like I said, I had homeboys that was out in the streets. 16, I used to lie, tell my mama like, oh, we going to Cedar Point for the weekend. That's like an amusement park in the next state over in Ohio. But me and my girl, we'd be flying money to Arizona for my boys because they used to get the weed from over there. So we girls, this before 9/11, so it wasn't all the little machines and all that in the airport. You could just put some money on you and walk through the thing and you good, you know? So I kind of jumped off the porch probably about 16.
But I feel like 16, that's that age. Whatever it is with 16, that's the age where, for girls, it's just always that age where it's like, we out of there, like you in your rebellious phase.
You feel grown.
Right. So at 16, doing that, like you still, I know you still managed to graduate high school.
Yeah, I went to college and everything.
Wow. So how were you able to balance that type of life and focus on your work as well?
In high school was easy for me. Like, I mean, I'm kind of wasn't having problems. I was book smart, you know, so that little work, I do my work or whatever. Because I knew, like, to keep my mom and daddy off my back, all I had to do was get good grades. As long as I'm maintaining this school and I ain't bringing no trouble to their door or riffraff or disrupting their life, they really was cool.
Right.
So I always made sure I kept good grades. And then I wanted to go to college. And I knew the only way I'd be able to move out the house and go out of state is if I go to college. So my whole plan was to go to school in Atlanta. So when I graduated in 2000, I moved to Atlanta, Georgia.
Now, just to go back to high school, was there a point in time where you felt like you were being a little bit too rebellious?
Yeah, I went through a little rebelliousness when I was in middle school. My dad got locked up or whatever, and we had went through the whole thing with the police raiding the house. I was like probably in the 6th grade then, and we went through that whole fiasco, like everybody in the neighborhood looking like, oh, you know what I'm saying? So I kind of went through, I wasn't ashamed because, you know, I ain't never was ashamed of my daddy, but I was just looking at people like, but y'all the same people that was at our house eating our food and coming over to the parties, but then y'all side-eyeing us when y'all see the feds at our house, or y'all know my daddy went to jail. So that in itself made me be looking at people like people fake and phony, you know. And
did you have like, you know, like how you said everybody was coming over your house and like, you know, y'all's family was like that household. So when your dad went away, did you start to see people's behavior change towards you guys? Not
more so change. I think more so nosy. That's anytime you known or something in the streets when something happened, people be nosy. Oh, did he leave them money or what they got going on? It's like, it's crazy because it's like people be worried about the wrong stuff, but that's just how it is. So to me, it was not like my friends whose family was in the street. It was like my friends that was from school. You know what I'm saying? Not the side that we already knew what was going on. You know what I'm saying? It was my friends from school. So I'm looking like, well, fuck y'all then. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, well, don't try to come around when my daddy come home. Don't be trying to come over and go swimming in our pool or whatever, you know? So it kind of made me look at people kind of, you know, because they pass judgment on you. I could put it in that context.
Yeah.
And that kind of made me look at people like, fuck them.
Right. So from middle school to high school, and when I do want to ask, like, at what point did you feel like you were being a little bit too rebellious?
Well, my daddy went to jail because I was scared of my daddy. You know what I'm saying? So like my mom was more passive, cool mama. My mama had us young, so I had a cool mom, like a young mama, you know. But my daddy wasn't an authorian, but he just got that respect from us because he had all girls. He had no sons, so like he was the man of the house. So, and he took care of us. So I always had that respect from my dad. So when my dad went to jail, I was so mad. Like I just was going through my own little thing. You know, when you young like that, you really don't know how to process emotions or get through stuff like that. So start smoking weed, I started drinking, started messing with, you know, hanging out with boys that I shouldn't have been around. You know what I'm saying? Being places I shouldn't have been. And me and my mama had a little struggle around that time. You know what I'm saying? Because it was hard to control me. Because I'm an Aries and I'm a matter of fact person. And if anybody know me, they know that whatever I want to do, I'm gonna do, and I don't give a fuck what nobody think. Like if it's something I want to do, I'm gonna do it. And that's just how I am. But back then I shouldn't have been doing it because I was young. But that's kind of what I went through at that moment.
Now, going into college, your Atlanta days, what did that look like for you?
Girl, I came down here before I even got my apartment. So me and my homegirl, my cousins, came down here and we partied. I'm like, girl.
I feel like you came out here when Atlanta was like
the real, like popping.
Everybody said the real Atlanta.
It's like, it was just different because like back then, coming up in the era I came in, like I said, I grew up a little early, but even I jumped off the porch early, so I grew up in a different era. Even though I'm younger, I still grew up in a certain era, and I grew up in the era where niggas was getting money. Like right now, it's just so disheartening that you just hear about all these kids getting killed and they so young, and I don't be hearing shit about nobody getting no goddamn money. All I hear about is motherfuckers dying. Not trying to be funny, but all I hear about is people ODing, dudes getting killed. Like, I don't hear nothing about no niggas getting money. That's just my opinion.
No, and so, I think that you're completely correct. I think where the disconnect comes from is now that we have social media, I feel like it's a lot of monkey see, monkey do. I also feel like people's priorities are messed up because they're seeing, like, you're seeing people on social media with all this jewelry, all these cars, but you don't know, like, it may be their friend's jewelry. It may be somebody else's stuff.
And it might not be theirs. You might be watching some shit from a video. So for me, like, the niggas was young getting money. Like, even when we was 16 and we might be with our friends at 16, they still had their little weed. They was gonna smoke with the girls. They was gonna give you some liquor and they gonna get you some food. You know what I'm saying? So I come from where dudes treat women. You get what I'm saying? Even young like that, like, you can ask like my cousins or anybody, like anytime we go somewhere, it's like the dudes take care of the women.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? It's just a respect thing. You know what I'm saying? It don't matter if I'm with 2 girls, 3 girls, and I know guys do that now, but like for me, it was different times. And
yeah,
like,
it wasn't more so like, okay, so you like, I feel like this, like now, okay, so you know Twitter, right?
Yeah.
You get on Twitter and you'll see girls all the time complaining about like, oh, if he's not buying you this or doing that, like certain stuff a dude should already be doing. Like you shouldn't even have to tweet that he's not doing that. And I feel like we have came to those times where a lot of dudes aren't taking the initiative when it comes to different things. And I think it's just the era, like you said, you come up in like a get money era where...
Yeah, I do. And it's like, even with the era now, I feel like this. We all have a standard, women have expectations, but I came from the era where the good girls was like, dudes wanted the good girls. The dudes wanted the good girls that was in college. The dudes was attracted to the good girls that was working. You know, the clean cut girl like that, you know what I'm saying, that everybody ain't talking about, you know, and I ain't knocking nothing. It is what it is, but it's like, now, if a dude a real dude, if he want to do something, he gonna do it. You ain't gotta ask. If a dude really like you and he mess with you like that, he gonna do what he want to do to get you, and he gonna treat you how he want to treat you if he really like you. So to me, a lot of girls, I see little stuff on Instagram, like when they talk to dudes like, oh, you got to do this for me if you want to fuck with me, blah, 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 blah. You making yourself look like a bird, because at the end of the day, if a dude really like you, he gonna do what he want for you anyway. Yeah. Like, give a nigga a chance to court you. Give a nigga a chance to get to know you. Like, they come out the rip like, oh, nigga, you gotta buy me, blah, 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 woo, 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 woo. So that shit like mad corny to me, you know, because it's like, it's classless, you know, and like I said, if a dude like you, he gonna do what it takes to get you, and he gonna treat you accordingly. You know, and I just think it's tacky. I think that it's classless, and I don't think a guy will really take you serious if you start the conversation and you act like that. You know, for me, I'm a go-getter, but it's a certain caliber of guys that I like. But for some reason, those are just the type of guys that I attract. You know, and I always got a little saying to people, like, especially women and men, it go both ways. You know, you want this, but have you looked in the mirror and you seen who you are? You attract you attract what you are. So all the dudes that you trying to holler at you, that's because them the type of guys that you attract. Look in the mirror. You know, you be wanting this $1 million nigga, but you a $10 hoe. I'm not saying it like that, and I'm not trying to
but
say
it's real.
It's
like
the
you
way
speaking
you carry
real,
yourself.
yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And it's like, I just feel like we got to do better. You know, and I think a lot of dudes will respect a lot of girls more if they carry themselves accordingly. And you know, girls try to look at other girls who popping right now. So I feel like everything is for everybody. That lane is for them. Find your own lane. Stop trying to duplicate what the next person doing. Do you? You know, and it's like this era is a lot of monkey see, monkey do. You know what I'm saying? You're
So
not gonna be
bad.
the next her or her. That's why she her, because that's her lane and she doing her. Like, figure out your lane and do you. You know?
Now, I do want to ask, when you were, as we're on the topic of like dating, but when you were dating drug dealers, like what, was that like a thrill for you? Like why would you
was.
say you steered in that direction?
It was. I like the bad boy. Like, once I found out my daddy was a street dude and like I started peeping shit, like, oh, so when we go places, they be like, oh, them Chuck daughters. I'm like, okay. You know what I'm saying? Or it's just the respect that how people treated him and the things I used to hear people say about him. Like, I admire that. And for girls, the first man they fall in love with is their father. So every dude I wanted them to have characteristics and emulate my daddy. So then was the type of guys that I was used to or I was looking for, because, you know, my daddy was that type of dude. So that's why I was always attracted to those type of guys.
What would you say came with dating somebody in that lifestyle?
Everything, girl. Back then it used to be fun, because it's like, I'm saying, like, when I was young, I used to have fun. You know what I'm
But
saying?
and then also you was in Atlanta like when it was fun.
Yeah, I was
like-
in Atlanta when it was fun, and dudes really ain't put no, oh, if I fly y'all out, we fucking. It was like, if you had a dude, and like, say you my girl, and I'm like, oh, my dude, he said y'all can come too, we can come. And y'all can come, but it ain't like when y'all get there, niggas like, well, who fucking my boys? Like, it don't be like that. It's like, my girls can come and sleep in their own room. They don't gotta holler at nobody, and we just have a good time. So it's like, times was just so different. Like, it was before social media, when you out partying, you was really genuinely having a good time, because ain't nobody had no phone like this recording shit. It's like, you really interacted with people and you really had a good time. You know, so Atlanta was like my best years ever, like, ever. Like, I was here from 2000 to 2005. So whoever lived here or whoever was around, they know, like, everything was popping. Like, the rappers, the athletes, the regular people, like, everybody interacted with each other. It was like everybody partied together. You know what I'm saying? Wasn't no separation, and it was just different. Like I said, that was the era where people was getting money and enjoying themselves.
Now, I do know that you used to roll with VMF and then back in the day. So with that, what was like the fun times that y'all all had together? Like some that just sticks in your memory?
I mean, shit, that whole time was a fun time. I ain't gonna even front. Like, every day we went out, like Monday through Sunday. Like, Monday was like Justin's, and then we go to Magic City. Tuesday we used to go to the Velvet Room. Wednesday we used to go to Strokers. Thursday, what the hell was Thursday? Visions or something. Like, Fridays was like, what, Justin's again or something. It was just like, Saturday was 112. It was like, Sunday was Jazzy T's. It was just like every fucking day. Like, I look back and I don't even know how I survived those years, because I'm like, when did I sleep? When did I whatever? Because it's like, it was a whole party. And a lot of shit I ain't gonna even front, I probably can't even remember, because we used to just be high and drunk all the time. That was like something that we did. That's why I say I don't even know how I was able to do that, and I still graduated from college.
Wow.
Yeah, I did.
What did you major in?
I majored in mortuary science, funeral service.
Wow. That's okay.
That's weird,
Your
right?
self-discipline had to be like A1, because to be living your best life and partying and, girl, then making the time to like actually focus on your college education, that is a real skill.
Girl, I had to be I was living my best life, but my daddy ain't play.
Right.
He was paying all them bills. I was riding good, living good. So I knew if I wanted to keep that lifestyle going, I better take my ass to school. That's all he wanted me to do, was to go to school and graduate.
Also,
You know what I'm saying?
even when you had moved out here, he was still like making sure you was straight.
My daddy? Yeah. Like, my daddy, if he was alive right now, he probably still make sure we straight. Like, my daddy had all daughters. So it's like, he just took care of us really good. Like, we didn't have to rely on the man for nothing. Like, daddy paid rent, car notes, bought us new cars, like, everything. So when I came here, I ain't have to work and nothing. I just had to go to school.
Wow. So how did you even come about when it came to you dating someone that was in BMF?
You know, I knew them from Detroit. So, like, I was young then. So when we, like, the kids that was our age, we got grown. And we moved to Atlanta, and that's when we linked up because we was able to go out and stuff like that. So I met, you know, my son's father, he was like 11 years older than me. So when I met him, I was like 19. And he was like 30 or 31. And I met him just from being around. It wasn't like nobody hooked us up. It was just like a mutual acquaintance. And it's like we were cool and just started from there. But we was already around each other. We just, the same people, we just never crossed paths. I could put it that way. So it was just like regular.
Was there any things that you learned from him when you guys were dating?
Yeah, I learned some stuff. I learned good stuff and stuff that I shouldn't have been learning. But nah, like, my son's father really, I was young, so he really taught me how to be a woman. You know, like, just little things. This person I really don't want to go into detail with like that. But like, girl, he was the one that had me cooking. You know what I'm saying? Like, I started doing all that when I got with him. So I started more evolving and maturing more into a lady instead of like a teenager. I could put it in that way.
And now, whenever you were pregnant, with that lifestyle, did you ever think like, I don't want to bring my son into this? Or did you ever have like some type of escape plan to where you wanted to shield him from all of that?
To be honest with you, no. When I got pregnant by my son, my baby daddy was on a run, so I still decided to keep the baby. So it was like, I really wasn't more so thinking like that. My outlook on it was, you know, I was had to thinking the then and now, you know, like the now. So my thing was, okay, I just was hoping he was able to stay out long enough until I had the baby, but you know, things ain't work out that way. But in my mind, I already knew, like, we was going to be good. Like, I wasn't going to leave him hanging. I was going to hold him down. He was going to have a relationship with his son. But, no, me having a kid, no, I wouldn't have never want to raise my son like that. You know, my mom ain't raised my son like that when I went to prison. And I don't raise my son like that now. It's like, for me, when you come to your children, you always want them to be a better version of you. You know, so my son ain't street at all. Like, my son an athlete. He played football. He about to go to Texas A&M. You know, he committed to Texas A&M, so my whole son's life is like the total opposite of mine, and I'm grateful and thankful for that.
Right. Has he watched some of your interviews?
Yeah, girl. So I did this interview. I did a documentary called Trap Queens on BET. It's season 2, episode 2. That was mine. So like, he was in it like at the end, but he really don't like to talk, so they kind of just put him in at the end, like a little scene with us or whatever. So when it came out, I was like, you want to watch it? He like, no, I don't want to watch it. I'm like, why? And he was just so adamant, like, because I don't want to. So then all his friends start posting it on Instagram, like, Mama be the GOAT. You know, because his little friends, it's like, I'm like the auntie to them, you know. So when they seen it, they were just like, damn, and, you know, they was excited. So I think that made him a little curious, like, let me see what
was my mama into.
So we watched it, you know, and I wanted him to watch it just because he never wanted to talk about me going to prison. Like, even when I came home, I was like, you know, you want to talk about me going away, how you feel? He was like, nope. He's like, I want to talk about it. You home now. I don't want to talk about it. So I respected it, you know. So he was able to, like, get a backstory about his dad, you know, my situation, how it played out. So he can have, I'm glad he just got an understanding of what I went through, you know, and why I left, and knew I ain't intentionally mean to leave him. So now that he was older and able, you know, to comprehend everything and watch it, it was cool. So now he like, it don't bother him no more.
Right, and I bet when he was watching it, he was probably looking at you like, dang, like you was really out here.
Because I don't portray that life to him. So like, even when people be like, you know your mom? I used to be like, shut up. He know me as a football mama. He know me as a football mom. Like, so sometimes though, like, okay, like in Little League, this is funny, Little League or whatever, right? In Little League. So, in Little League, we played for the Welcome All Panthers, and like, it was like one of the top Little League programs in Atlanta or whatever, right? So, girl, them games used to be intense because it's like, we played on the south side, so you already know how it is, it's gonna get ghetto. So he seen me like, he like, Mom, stop, like be quiet. Like he see the little other side of me come on. He used to be looking like, Mom, please, like chill, like what are you doing?
He don't know.
Nah, he don't like that though. he like the kind mama, but I mean, sometimes it'll come out, but he seen it, so he know it's there.
Right. Now, just to touch back on this really quick, for like, you know, the younger girls who are into dudes that are part of like the lifestyle like that, what advice would you even tell them when it comes to that?
Shoot, you better know what you signed up for. Because at the end of the day, I mean, everybody gonna make their own decisions. You can't sit here and make decisions for people. And the type of person I was growing up, you could tell me not to do something and I'm gonna still do it. Like, I gotta bump my head and fall and then get back up and learn from that. But now that I'm older, I'm like, damn, why I ain't just listen? And it could have prevented all this other stuff to happen if I would have just listened. But you just gotta know what comes with that lifestyle. You know what I'm saying? And being in federal prison, it was a lot of girls in there that didn't do nothing. They was just dating a drug dealer.
And they took
and
the charge?
they'll charge you with money laundering.
Wow.
They say that you knowingly spent monies from drug proceeds, so you just as guilty. It was girls in there I knew doing 5-6 years, and they ain't never sold a drug in their life. They never did nothing illegal, but because they was with a drug dealer.
Wow. When you talk to them, did they ever speak on regretting like going in that path?
I don't think more so that they regret it because that's the man that they love, and they felt like they wasn't doing nothing. So a lot of times when you with a man and you feel like I don't got nothing to what he doing, you feel like you protected. You know, but the way the system is now, a lot of girls be with their guys a lot. You know what I'm saying? A lot of girls tell their girls a lot of stuff. And just being knowledgeable of crimes or things that go on, they consider that you guilty, you part of a conspiracy because you knowingly knew about crimes that was committed and you ain't tell the police. That's how they feel. So at the end of the day, I just want girls to realize what they signed up for. For me, I how can you say it? For me, I went through everything a person can go through that was in the street life. You know what I'm saying? Like, my daddy went to jail when I was younger. My son's father went to jail when I was pregnant, and he died in jail. He died in prison when my son was 9 months. And then I come home. After that, I'm a single mother, and I turn around and I catch a federal case. You know what I'm saying? Involving a man. You know, and my father ended up getting indicted too, and he was my co-defendant. You know what I'm saying? So I kind of went through every scenario and took so many losses. You know what I'm saying? You really take a couple, but you usually don't take all of them like that at one time. You know what I'm saying? Over a course of years. So for me, that lifestyle ain't even appealing to me. Cause I had it, I lived it, but all the shit that I did that I thought was fun or that I benefited from it, it don't add up to the things that I lost.
Right.
So if I could do it all over again, I would, because when I went to prison, I lost a significant amount of time in my life. So me coming home, I still be beating myself up because I feel behind. You know, like all my girlfriends, they married, they got careers, you know, they got families, you know, their families is thriving, they're thriving, they built stuff with, you know, building businesses and stuff with their husbands. And it's like, I feel like I'm so behind because I'm not married. Like, I'm 40, I'm about to be 41 in April. I'm not married. I did want another child, and I do, but it's like the clock is ticking, you know. So I say that to say this, like, think before you do stuff, you know what I'm saying? And I'll weigh the pros and the cons, you know. And it's sad to say, it's like my tragedy is not saying entertainment, but my tragedy is what people know me for. You know what I'm saying? The bad. And it's okay. Like, I don't look at it like that because I feel like me sharing my story, I do that not for no fame, not to glorify it. I do it because if I can help one person not make the decisions I made and save their life, I feel like I did my duty. You know, so if I can share my pain, share my story, share my ups and share my downs in hopes of changing other people's lives, I get fulfillment out of that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So that's why I do it. But I don't wish a person to go through everything that I went through to be able to sit here and tell y'all stories and tell y'all don't do it. You know, so if you can skip all of that and go from here to here and you be all right, I would do that. It's like, cause at the end of the day, I did all that partying and stuff, and right now, it's like a lot of people live in the moment, like you having a lot of fun, but time go by fast. You gonna look up and time then pass you by, and you gonna be like, what the fuck have I done? You look up and you ain't did shit, ain't accomplished shit. You still doing the same shit you was doing 5-10 years ago.
Right.
Cause you just let time pass you by. And I lost so many people that's near and dear to me, and I wish I had time. So I made a promise to myself, like, I'm gonna put me first, and I'm gonna do what I want to do. I'm not gonna compromise my beliefs, my values, my morals, my principles. I'm not gonna do nothing to appease somebody else that make me feel uncomfortable. I'm not gonna do that because this life is so precious. I'm a value every minute and every second and do what's fulfilling to me and what make me happy.
Do you feel like it was a lot of putting others before yourself, like when you were into all of those things?
Because I wasn't a drug dealer. I just met a dude who had a sweet ass situation, and the reason why I hopped in that situation, because I was trying to help my people and make things a little easier for them. So I always put people before myself. I was thinking about helping my people feed their families and put some money in their pocket, but I was the link to the connection. So I put my life on the line and my freedom on risk, and my freedom on the line in hopes of helping my people get some money and provide a better lifestyle for their family.
Right.
You know, it is what it is, and that's just how it is in the Black community a lot of times in today's society, because when you grow up or you see your people hurt, I don't know if it's just in our hearts or who we are as beings, but we want to give and help people.
Yeah, I think this is the perfect time to go into how you even ended up getting caught.
Well, I told this story so many times, but for those who may not have heard it, I'm just gonna kind of move through it fast. I'm not gonna really go too deep into it because I didn't told it so many times. But I was dating a guy. Me and the guy were cool. He sold drugs or whatever. He was a street guy. He used to come to Detroit, so I think he's seen the connection or the type of people that I interact with in Detroit. And he's an Aries like me, so he a person that try you. And you see how you respond to what he throw out there. So one particular day, he hit me up and was like, yo, I'm about to send something down there for you. And I'm like, all right. I was like, what? He's like, you gonna be able to handle it? I'm like, yeah, it's cool. He's like, all right. And he sent some stuff down there. So when he sent the package to Detroit, it was like 30 kilos of cocaine. So, I mean, everybody I know, that's not hard in Detroit, if you in that circle. So I called up a few of my people, I gave them some stuff, and I had his money back in a couple days. When I called him, you can come get your money, he was looking like, damn, and from that day on, it just started a routine where we were transporting cocaine from Chicago to Detroit. We was transporting drugs. And I had a girl that I went to school with down here. We didn't go to the same school, but we met in the college environment, and we became really good friends. She was actually, the godmother of my son, at the beginning, and she used to ride with me sometimes to Chicago or whatnot. And one time she was like, I guess, so her mom and dad was going through some financial strain. I think they were divorcing. She wanted to help her mom, so she wanted to make some extra money. She was taking some classes at the time. So I'll help her by letting her watch my son, I'll pay her. and I'll take her to Chicago and even hook her up with some, my peoples or whatever, hang out. But I guess that really wasn't good enough for her. So she cut into the guy I was dating at the time and was like, let me drive. I'm in college, I can drive. They're not gonna mess with me, yada, yada, yada. In my heart, from the jump, I didn't feel like that was a good idea. And I let that be known. Like, nah, I don't think she should do that, whatever. But said if y'all go do that, that's on y'all. That don't got nothing to do with me. That's what y'all got going on. So still me, being Brandi, I was like, I ain't feel comfortable with her driving. So I'll follow her. When she picked the drugs up from Chicago, I'll follow her back to Detroit. And then when it was time to bring the money back, I'll follow her back to Chicago with the money. So one particular day, she ended up leaving Chicago without me. This particular day, she ended up getting pulled over in a traffic stop. They said she was speeding. They had asked her some questions because I watched the video. They had a video of the traffic stop and everything like that. And they had asked her some questions. She answered, and then like the last question they asked her like, was it drugs in the car, blah, blah, blah. She like, no. They was like, well, is it okay if I search the car? She like, yeah. So as I'm watching this, I'm like, dude, like if you know you around with all that shit, why would you allow them to search the car? If I'm gonna go down, I'm gonna go down with a fight. Like I ain't just gonna give it to their ass like here. So even though the drugs was like in a stash spot or whatever that they have in the cars, a lot of times when you have them routine traffic stops, they be knowing what to look for. You know what I'm saying? Up and down the highway. So they end up finding the drugs or whatever. End up arresting her. She ended up cooperating, so they let her keep going like she ain't get pulled over to come meet me. So it was like, it's just crazy. That whole day I had an eerie feeling. So
I was gonna ask you if you felt weird.
I did, and I don't know what it was because when we was in Chicago, she had already left, but I was just like, yo, let's leave tomorrow or whatever. Like, let's just chill. And he like, no, let's just go get it out the way, blah, blah, blah. But the whole way back to Detroit, it was just, something wasn't settling right with me. And that's why to this day, I never go against my first mind or my gut feeling, because this was a perfect example of what happened. Because even though we was driving, everybody that was calling me when I talked to them was like, what's wrong? I'm like, nothing, I'm just tired. But I guess I gave off that vibe, So when I went to her house to go pick up the car she was driving with the drugs in it or whatever, I pushed the gate code and I swear I heard like, I don't know, it's weird. Some people, I used to believe people when they used to say it, but it's like I heard a voice whisper in my ear and was like, don't go.
That's true.
It's like I pushed the gate code, the gate ain't open. And I'm like, all right. And I pushed that motherfucker again and it opened. So I'm like, all right. So we pull up, she come out, she give me the keys to the car. And in the car, I told her like, yo, it's over. Like, you ain't driving no more. That ain't for you. Like, find something else for you to do. Like, it's over. She like, oh, okay. She's like, I love you, blah, blah, blah. We get out the car. As soon as I got in the car that had the stuff in it, before I can even start the car, like all the police, I don't know where the hell they came from, but they came like out of nowhere and I got arrested. Fast forward that, I was fighting my case. While I was out fighting my case, my father and a couple of my other people's houses got raided. So they end up getting indicted. The guy that I was dating ended up cooperating, telling on my father and things of that nature. So my father ended up getting 8 years in prison. I ended up getting 10 years in prison.
Wow.
So that kind of like how it ended, and it's just kind of fucked up because I kind of walk around with guilt a little bit.
I was gonna ask you.
I most definitely do to this day. Like my dad passed away in 2015, and to this day, I still walk around with guilt because I feel like I brought a motherfucker around my family and he destroyed it from a person I brought around. Like I brought this nigga around my people. Like our life was hunky dory. We ain't had no problems or nothing. But as soon as I bring this motherfucker around, everything start crashing down around me, So that was a learning lesson for me. My daddy never held no bitterness or nothing towards me because we had that conversation before, but that's just something that I hold on to. And I don't know if I hold on to it as a reminder so I won't fuck up and make the same mistake again. Maybe that, but I used to be a very trusting person. Like I always used to try to see the good in people and not the bad. and somebody would be like, oh, fuck her. I'd be like, no, but she cool. Like, I was kind of like that person that tried to get everybody the benefit of the doubt. But now, I don't get no motherfucking body the benefit of the doubt. Like, everybody suspected me. And my friends be so mad, because it's like, if I don't fuck with you, I don't fuck with you. If you ain't been around, I really don't want to meet you unless you from a whole different walk of life. And I really don't fuck with you if you from a whole different walk of life neither. It's just like, I just programmed my mind like that, and I might have blocked a couple blessings, but that's just something that protects me, my defense mechanism. You know what I'm saying? So like, say if it was you, and you like, yeah, girl, let's go to lunch. I'm gonna bring my friend. I'd be like, I ain't going.
I don't know that friend.
I don't want to be around your motherfucking friend. Like, I don't know that bitch. Everybody be like, damn. I'd be like, I ain't trying to be funny. I ain't got nothing against. I don't want to be around her.
You have to be like that though, because I feel like you just never know. And like, say for instance, like how you said, if I'd be like, oh, I'm gonna bring my friend. That the girl who is inviting you to dinner, she probably don't even know how her friend get down for real.
Exactly, you just don't know.
Right.
You know, and it's like, I'm cool because I know how I am. And I try to separate myself so much from that because I'm the type of person, I'm cool. But if I feel you a little sketchy or I feel you trying to do something, then you gonna see the old me come out, and I try to stay away from that. So I just don't deal with people. You know, it take a lot for me to bring you in my circle.
Right.
A lot. And I don't be trying to act funny. I don't be trying to act weird. And that's even with dudes. Like, dudes be in my DM, oh, nah, nigga. I don't know you, fucking stranger danger. Like, hell no, I'm cool. I ain't trying to chop. I don't know your ass. I don't want no problems. I don't want none of that. So like I said, I might have blocked a couple blessings. Who knows? I don't know. But that's what I do to protect me.
Ooh, do you have a hard time dating due to what you are accustomed to, like the lifestyle that you are accustomed to now? Because, you know, it's not a lot of money like it was back in the day.
It's not, and for me, I don't look at it for more so. Now, come on, I ain't gonna mess with no broke nigga. Like, I don't want no bum. Like, let's get that clear. But my focus, like, I more so care about my peace and the peace that a person brings me in. And the loyalty and the love and the genuineness and the honesty. It's like, I look more for those qualities than the money, you know. And I look at men and it's like I had a different standard now. You know, now that I'm in my 40s and I'm getting older, I be looking at dudes like, what you got going on? Like, nigga, like, what businesses you got, or what you got established, or what you working on to, you know, to build generational wealth for your kids and your family. It's because it's like, one day all this shit gonna be over. And now I live my life for my son. Like, I live my life to make his life better than mine was. So my whole everything revolves around him. So if anybody date me, they just gonna have to love my son too, cause like, and it's the same goal if he get a wife. Like, I ain't going nowhere, it's just me and him, you know what I'm saying? But we just got that good relationship, and I go off my son vibes.
Right.
Like, my son really ain't seen, I've been home, my son don't see me around dudes. He don't see me around men. I can count like few, like not even over 3. You know, and that's even with friends. They ain't even got to be guys I was dating. I just protect. That's my everything. So I just protect him. I try to protect him from stuff, but it's just scary, even dating. Because it's like, with me, I'm a felon. I'm a convicted felon. I kind of had a high profile case, and just from my son's father being who he is, it's like they look at me in the system like I'm a bitch that fuck with niggas who got a bag or a drug dealer. So they gonna automatically associate me with that even if I ain't involved in it. So say if I do meet a dude, say he a hustler, say he get money, he get into a bag, and say he get indicted and that's my dude and they raid our house. Them motherfuckers gonna lock me up too, because they gonna feel like I knew what was going on just based off of my background.
Wow. So,
you know, so it's like, I gotta be careful of who I deal with as well, because I ain't about to go back to jail for nobody. Right. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm a football mom, like, and I enjoy that. Like, I go to sleep peacefully at night. I close my eyes at night and I sleep peacefully, because I ain't gotta worry about if somebody gonna kick my door in. I ain't gotta worry about me looking over my shoulder. Like, I ain't gotta worry about none of that. I don't gotta worry about if something happened to my nigga when he gone, like, is he gonna get locked up or somebody gonna kill him? Like, I don't have those type of worries. So like I said, I choose my peace over anything where I'm at in life right now.
Now, what would you say are some things that you want to accomplish now?
Well, actually, I have given this a lot of thought. you know, my son played football. He's a highly recruited kid. And it was a process, and I'm happy and I'm blessed to be able to have walked that journey through with him. Like, that's every kid's dream, to be able to come from where he come from, to make it in sports. And I try to use my son as an example, because it's a lot of kids who can't see past tomorrow or can't see further than their neighborhood, and they don't have no hope. And I always like show my son so much on social media and all his accomplishments, and share my story, because he is those kids. When I was pregnant with him, his daddy went to jail. He ain't never see his daddy free. His daddy died when he was 9 months. He really don't remember his daddy. My daddy raised my son. My daddy died, went to prison and died shortly after he came home. My mother raised him. We just lost my mama 2 years ago. So everything in his life that he cherished and he loved, and every person that was significant more so in his life as a parent, is gone but me. My son could have said, fuck it, and he could have went the other way. But instead, he used that as motivation for him to never want to go that way. He chose another way. And I hope that me sharing my story and seeing where he's at in life inspires kids that you could be whatever you want to be. It's up to you. Don't let your environment and your circumstances dictate your future.
Right.
You know, and I'm a big believer in that. And I admire my son so much for that, because he could be a statistic. He could be one of the kids that you see on Instagram toting guns, doing all that bad stuff. But I think everything that he went through, it humbled him, and it just made him want to change the dynamics of our family legacy and do something different with his life. And as of right now, my one nephew, my sister her second oldest, he went to college, he played football, he's graduating, he still has a year left for eligibility, he's working on his master's. So he started it. He was the first man in the family to get a college degree, and now my son right behind him. Then I got another nephew that's about to be right behind him. You know what I'm saying, in sports. But my niece, I got a niece, she's taking her ass to college, and she doing something with her life too. And that's why our kids think we hard on them, but we know what the streets do to you. We walk that walk, and I don't want that. Like, I wish I can go back in time and go to college and have a career and be a regular person. Like, I really wish I could do that, because I see my friends and they living their life that I wish that I could have had if I would have started earlier. And I'm not complaining. I mean, my life is what it is. And you know, I got to deal with the cards that was dealt. But if I had an opportunity, I would change. I would go to school. After I graduated from school, I would have went to a different type of school, to be honest with you. Because going to all these big universities with my son, I'm like, damn, I missed out on so much. And I had the opportunity to be able to do that because my dad provided that opportunity for me. But instead, I wanted to be down here partying. I wanted to be living my best life, and I could have acquired so much more and accomplished so much more in life if I would have chose a different route.
Yeah.
You know, so I just wish people would think for the future when they make decisions instead of thinking for today and the now.
Did you ever think that you would be telling your story as soon as you got out?
No, girl, I never thought that I would go viral. Like, my fam is Stevie J, and he started it. Because when I came home, the Halfway House is on Fulton Industrial, and we all met at this McDonald's. And this is when, like, in the height of his career, when he was loving hip hop was popping, you know, he was real popular at the moment or whatever. And he just posted a video like, my sister home, woo, woo, da 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 da. And that shit like went viral. That shit had like people was reposting me. Like, I gotta give big ups to Monica too. She posted me when I came home, you know, welcomed me home and stuff like that. And as a woman, that was very uplifting and supportive, because she looked at where I've been and where I'm at now, and she gave me my flowers. Like, she turned her pain into a purpose, and she acknowledged that. And, you know, I was very appreciative and grateful of that. But that video it went viral, and that shit got me in trouble, because when you come home, you're not even supposed to stop nowhere. You're supposed to go straight to the Halfway House. So everybody met me at the McDonald's down the street from the Halfway House. So I went there or whatever, so many people dropped me off, so the halfway house was already looking like, who the fuck is this? They like 10 cars deep, pulling up. They like, hold on, what's going on? So the next morning I get called down to the director's office. And I'm like, he like, you got something to tell me? And I'm like, what? He's like, I'm gonna ask you this now. And if you don't tell me the truth, I'm sending your ass back to jail. I was like, tell me what? He said, where you went somewhere? I said, yeah, I went to the McDonald's. I met my family up there. I was like, I'm sorry. Like, don't send me back to jail. He like, man, I'm gonna get you the hell up out of here, because if you stay here, you gonna get in trouble. Because I didn't have the little, you know, you still gotta get acclimated to stuff like that. But he ended up sending me home on house arrest, girl. So I really had to, you know what I'm saying, be in order. But yeah, that video got me in trouble. I got a shot. They wrote me up and everything, and almost went back to jail.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
So it's like after that, it just went up. Because I don't think really people or society is used to seeing, like every time you talk about prison, you see they talk about the men. Like, remember that shit they used to come NBC lock up? We used to watch that. So it's always the men, and you never get to see the women's side and what we go through in prison. Because to be honest with you, my dad went to prison when I was younger, and then I held my baby daddy down at the beginning. See, when you go to a prison for men, the visiting room be filled up with the baby mamas, the kids, all that. Men get that affection from a woman. They get to get all of that. When you come to a visiting room at a women's prison, you're gonna see grandparents. You rarely see a man hold his girl down, or a husband. You're gonna see them kids with their grandparents or their sisters or something like that. Like we like how the men's jails filled with women and kids. Not ours. It's filled with grandparents and aunties.
Wow.
You know, so I be trying to tell people, like, our time a little rougher, you know, because shit, we be want love, and you want to feel that type sometimes from, you know, your significant other or that. We don't get that, you know. And at the same time, men get the comfort of knowing a lot of times if they do have a girl that ride with them, or even if they have good baby mamas, your kid's straight. Like, you can knock that bid down. Oh, my kids with their mama, she gonna bring them up here, they good. But with us, thank God for my mom and my sisters, but it was a lot of girls I was in there who kids was in foster homes. They ain't know where their kids was at. So just imagine the stress as a woman and the things, and the pressure that we have on our shoulders while we doing time. We don't got the comfort to be like, oh, they with their daddy, they straight. Nah. You know what I'm saying? A lot of girls were stressing out, they dudes was cheating on them, or, you know, or they dropped them after a little while when they was in jail. Like, we don't get that same loyalty from a man when we locked up that we get to them when they locked up.
And I'm so glad that you shed light on that, because you are absolutely right. We rarely hear a woman's perspective when it comes to her being in prison, and this is the first time that I've ever heard a woman explain like how the visitation was as a woman in prison.
It's like that, and it's sad, but it's true. You know, so for those who are men, if you have a significant other that's in jail, man, hold her down. Go get them visits, man. Take the kids to go see her. She was sending some pictures of a letter. Like, that means so much when you going through stuff. You know, women are more emotional creatures anyway.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So we tend to be a little more sensitive to certain things, but people got to take that in consideration.
Right.
They do.
Wow, Brandi, we just thank you so much for.
You're welcome.
Before we go into close, any last words or advice that you feel is on your heart to share to others?
Lately, for me, and like I said, I've been doing a lot with football and things like that, and I'm a time of a person that's not saying afraid of failure, but I don't like to do things and fail at it. So it's been on my mind a lot. Like I said, my son a highly recruited football player, so I kind of went through this recruiting process and learned the game. And as a single mother, going through that, you know, it's a lot of talk that'll be talked. It's like you can get swindled or not really have a clear understanding that it's business, you know. So after a lot of thought and a lot of motivation from, you know, my loved ones and people around me, they was like, yo, you help kids so much, because I do. It's like, I just want to see these young boys go to school as a mother, a single mother, take the burden of having to pay for college. So it's like, if I know coaches, I'm going to get their film, I'm going to send it. I'm going to advocate for them kids, because it's like my son's path is for him. What's for him is for him. His path is already destined. But if I can help another family get their son a scholarship or be able to put them on a radar or get a look from other schools if they was maybe overshadowed a little bit, that gives me a purpose, and I get fulfillment out of that. So what I'm gonna do, I'm working on it now. I don't know how I'ma strategize it, but I'm gonna do a consulting company for parents. It could be both parents, it could be single moms, but I want to be able to consult with them and get them a blueprint on how to go upon and face the recruitment process and things, like that when it comes to college and sports.
You want to know what's so crazy?
What?
That's going to end up happening for you, because the whole time we were talking, like even before you went back, like in my spirit, I was like, she's going to end up doing something with sports. And like, I literally could picture you as like, being a top dog with like recruiting stages and even taking it up a notch and becoming an agent for these college football players to go to the NFL. Any athletes that want to go to like major sport leagues, I definitely see that for you.
Yeah,
like,
so
it's gonna happen.
Yes, that's we gonna pray on it. I'm gonna be have an open mind to it. But my advice for those is don't be afraid to take risks. If it's something that's on your heart that you feel you want to accomplish in life, just do it.
Right.
Don't live your life with no regrets, because you only get one rodeo, one time. So you might as well make the best of it. And I'm starting to live in that type of mind frame now. I'm starting to think outside the box. I start doing things that maybe I'm not really used to doing. Uncomfortable things. But sometimes uncomfortable is good. So like I said, I'm gonna embark on this new business venture. So y'all
very
keep an eye
I'm
out
rooting
for
you.
it.
I think you're gonna go crazy at it. It's in you, so you got it.
Thank you.
Cause she was a hustler. Hustler. She was a hustler.